The video game industry was built on mascots. The munch of Pac-Man's pellets, the ping of Mario's coins, spin dash of Sonic, even Space Invaders' actual invaders are an iconic design you'll find tattooed across millions of us all around the world. But have you noticed how much of that stuff has changed as the medium has gotten older? Gone are the likes of Sonic, Crash, and Mario as system sellers, or the characters that pop culture tends to associate with gaming. Ever since Solid Snake, Lara Croft, Nathan Drake, Master Chief, etc. took off, what sells tends to be more humanoid characters with weapons, storylines, or a general sense of empathy towards their actions. Because, well, last I checked, very few people listening to this are purple dragons, geckos in sunglasses, or multi-tailed foxes. Still, I and millions of you have such massive soft spots for the video game heroes they grew up with, and it rarely feels like the industry has created any mascots that can truly hang with them since. So I pose the question: which new age video game heroes deserve to be talked about as much as their old school figureheads? I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 best new video game heroes ranked. And no, Untitled Goose does not count because that thing is a villain. His nefarious waddling ways will pop up on a best new villains list that I'm gonna do in the future, so please check back for that. Number 10, Connor, Detroit Become Human. David Cage's dissection of race relations through human history by way of an android insurrection is clumsy, to put it lightly, but it's not short on ambition. Putting you in the shoes of a handful of different characters on all sides of the societal divide and then letting you choose the fates of each other is admittedly pretty effective, but the standout star by far is Connor. An android detective created to follow the rules and hunt down rogue deviants who are developing consciousness, this Blade Runner-style setup comes with nothing but charm thanks to a great performance from Brian Deschart. He portrays Connor as a clean, well-meaning individual partnered with Clancy Brown's android-hating Hank Anderson, a pairing that lets Deschart explore Connor's potential for friendship alongside the slow realization that he himself is becoming deviant. David Cage might be a pretty schlocky writer, but I would take a Connor and Hank detective show any day. Number 9, Agent Francis York Morgan, Deadly Premonition. Deadly Premonition is the sort of characterful Japanese humor-infused delight that you need to check out if something like Metal Gear or Yakuza's quirkier moments are some of your personal favorites. Playing as one Agent Francis York Morgan, but please just call him York, you unravel a bizarre murder mystery plot filled with tons of memorable quotable characters. Morgan himself is a walking smorgasbord of Western influence, part X-Files detective, part Twin Peaks' own Dale Cooper, part Hollywood film critic, and all parts lovable. Even the way he flicks his lighter open to randomly smoke during conversations is brilliant, and that's without mentioning how he thinks that the way his coffee moves in the morning can predict the future. Creative lead Hidetaka Swery Suhiro is as passionate about video games as they come, and Agent Francis York Morgan is like a tiny window into his cherishable soul. Number 8, Clementine, The Walking Dead. Telltale's Walking Dead games remain some of the most nerve-wracking and genuinely harrowing experiences you'll ever play, with Clem following the training she received from Lee in Season 1, evolving into a young girl who'll do whatever's necessary to survive the zombie-infested post-apocalypse. Although you do have control over how she's perceived by other characters in terms of dialogue options and actions, many secondary characters come to rely and depend on her as both she and their collective groups mature over time. Clem used to be the youngest female protagonist ever seen in a mainstream game, but as the writers kept throwing increasingly macabre events her way, it helped highlight just what stellar foundations were put in place all the way back in 2012. Number 7, SHEN, Sleeping Dogs. The world is yet to see an awesome Fast and the Furious or Point Break game, but the whole cop goes undercover and slowly loses their allegiance setup is a tale as old as time. For Sleeping Dogs, it's applied to Hong Kong, seeing you play as the phenomenally well-voiced and all-round lovable hero SHEN. Gameplay is enjoyably arcadey, a potent mix of Batman Arkham-style combat, the Wheelman-esque driving, and run-and-gun segments all blended into one. It thunders along at a perfect pace precisely because of Shen, who, thanks to Will Yun Lee's confident reads and Shen's ability to not crack under pressure, makes for a monumentally gripping crime thriller narrative. Seriously, I'm still gutted to this day that we never got a sequel, and with United Front Games going bust, we probably never will. Number 6, CIRI, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now, Geralt misses the cut for this list thanks to being originally playable in 2007's first Witcher game, as instead I'm going to highlight CIRI, a long fan favourite from Andrzej Sapkowski's books, who in Witcher 3 is attempting to flee the menacing titular Wild Hunt. The Hunt themselves are a band of demonic Sauron lookalikes hell-bent on killing Ciri to both understand and acquire her power, but Cirilla, Fiona, Ellen, Rhiannon manages to outwit them at every turn. A strong and feisty individual, CIRI is blessed with a great number of abilities, using them to warp between groups of enemies at ease or take down hulking griffins baying for her blood. Atop her natural talents, she's a witcher, schooled in various ways to hunt the worst creatures around. She looks out for her fellow human, isn't afraid to weaponize that latent power to devastating effect, and even willingly sacrifices herself to save the realm at the climax of the story. Part of The Witcher 3's magnificent scope is tracking how you treat CIRI across the course of the game. And if you let her develop naturally and with some encouragement, the happiest ending sees CIRI continue to protect the continent, journeying off as an accomplished witcher all her own. Number 5. Shovel Knight. From Shovel Knight. The gallant, dirt-cleansing, charming as all hell Shovel Knight is my personal favourite new hero, and a runaway success that's seen him pop up in everything from Yooka-Laylee to Smash Brothers to even becoming his own amiibo. Though developers Yacht Club knocked it out the park on his game overall, everything about playing as Shovel Knight is just brilliant. He forward flips onto each stage, feverishly searches treasure chests for jewels, hops aboard his shovel for a downward ducktail style attack, or he can unlock a range of abilities like mid-air dashes and fireballs to dispatch foes in style. All that when he's not stopping to fish or wow the townsfolk with sheer heroic head-turning stature. There's a touch of fable to how people will remark on this celebrity adventurer barreling through town, and it only reinforces everything else that you get up to. Steal thy shovel. Number 4. Ellie. The Last of Us. The debate on whether Joel belongs on this list or the upcoming villains one can rage out down in the comments. As for now, I'm gonna stick with someone who doesn't willingly doom humanity and focus on Ellie. Living in this cordyceps-infected world, Ellie is a supremely nuanced and fascinating character to pick apart. Forced to be very cut and dry with her personal relations thanks to everyone other than Joel dying or abandoning her, at the core Ellie is courageous, willing to believe the good in those around her, and she even wants to sacrifice herself to help synthesize a cure for humankind. She also has no problem standing up to people twice her size, and delivers one of my favorite lines of the decade, shouting to character David that he can, and I quote, tell his men that Ellie is the little girl that broke his effing finger. It's precisely because the world around her is so mired in desperation that Ellie being forthright and receptive stands out. Her chances at happiness are so fleeting, and as it seems even her relationship with Dina in The Last of Us 2 is fraught with sadness, I can't wait to see what Naughty Dog do in the sequel. Something tells me that the worst is yet to come. Number 3. Aloy. Horizon Zero Dawn. The closest thing that we've got to a new age PlayStation mascot that isn't the older version of Kratos, Aloy is another brilliantly written character loaded with meaning and thematics as a reflection of the world around her. We get to see Aloy grow from an infant all the way through to a young adult, challenging various tribespeople and their values as she's forever labeled an unwanted outcast due to not knowing her own mother. This quest for knowledge is part of Zero Dawn's core drive, and the world of Horizon is filled with just as many comments on religion and individualism as it is the advancement of technology, fear-mongering, and destiny. Thankfully, we're with Aloy every step of the way. Eventually, she finds out precisely what happened to her mother, who she's supposed to be, and when those former tribespeople suddenly start shifting their view and praising her, Aloy's reaction and rant about their fickle nature is one of my favorite moments of the generation. Hopefully, Horizon Zero Dawn goes on to be recognized as a powerful and essential franchise, not just for Sony, but Guerrilla Games as a studio. If leaks are to be believed, we're getting Killzone 5 next, but man, do I just want more of Aloy's story. Number 2. The Overwatch crew. Overwatch. The nearest thing gaming has to our own homegrown batch of superheroes, you'd be hard-pressed to find one of the Overwatch crew that isn't worthy of a tattoo, poster, or otherwise celebrating in a visual sense. Genji, Widowmaker, Tracer, Mercy, Hanzo, Winston, the vast majority are designed for maximum appeal, occasionally twinning sex appeal with powerful abilities, athleticism, and memorable color schemes. The second that we laid eyes on what Blizzard were working on, back when they weren't busy selling their soul for a few extra zeros anyway, that was it. Overwatch's aesthetic is gorgeously memorable, and the game has remained unbelievably popular since moment one. And number 1, Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2. Easily the finest modern video game character to emerge in recent memory, because Arthur Morgan entirely walks the line that you put down for him. Though you can play Morgan like a barbaric, no-nonsense killer getting by on loan sharking and bounties, he can also be a total sweetheart. Such was the way that Rockstar wanted Red Dead 2 to be played, one giant exploration into player agency and imposed morality. The end result being a split finale that either rewards you with peace or damns your actions forever. The best thing comes from Arthur keeping a diary, a place where he can reflect on his actions, ponder on why he's such a soulless killer, or try to figure out why the world around him is changing. It gives an entire new dimension to Roger Clark's vocal performance and answers every last question that came from GTA 4's introduction of ludonarrative dissonance. Arthur Morgan and Red Dead Redemption 2 are things that react to how you approach video games as a medium, and for that, they're Rockstar's best work, with Arthur himself being the best character yet. At least, that's what I think. Let me know your favourite modern video game characters down in the comments below, and please check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.